we're back. Rich at Heart podcast, episode number 15. And we got somebody really cool and rich at heart for sure. Santos Jaguar. What's up, bro?
What up, man? Thanks for having me.
Bro, thanks for coming. When Renown told me you were coming, I was like, oh, cool, I'm gonna check out his shit. And the more I dug into your catalog, the more I was like, this guy is fucking cool. Like, his music's dope. And the shit that you do on YouTube is dope. So, like, I've checked out some stuff, like other, I guess, channels and podcasts you've been on and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And just kind of got a scope for who you are. And I was like, man, this is definitely somebody we want to have on here. I've heard you talk about it a couple of times on other podcasts, though you went by your real name, right? Rapping for a while.
Yeah. Well, no, I went by a different name, Speedy G. Yeah.
Okay.
I used to go by Speedy G.
Okay, so just kind of shortened up, but
and then I went by my real name. Yeah.
Oh, okay, and then you went by your real name,
Santos Guzman.
Yeah, and then you changed it up, so Santos Jaguar, which I thought once I heard it and I seen the logo, I was like, oh, that's super dope. And the fact that you're Mexicano too, I was like, so he obviously knows that, like, in Aztec lore, the jaguar was like a deity. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It was like worshipped as an animal who can walk this realm and the spirit realm.
Exactly.
So, like, I was like, that's a powerful name. Like, that's dope, dude. So, yeah, did that play a lot into choosing that name?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Oh, sick. Dude.
I was really involved in the, like, Aztec, like, ceremony community.
Okay.
So they would do a lot of, like, traditional, like, ceremonies and sweat lodges. Yeah. And I, one day, my mentor or teacher's teacher, he came and visited us from Mexico City, and he was doing like this special, like, kind of like a Chinese zodiac when you like send your birthday in, and then you know how they tell you like, oh, you're a rooster or you're this or that.
Yeah.
So I did that with my birthday with the Aztec one, and it turned out that my like spirit animal was a black jaguar.
Oh shit, that's dope.
And I learned that like 5-6 years ago. Yeah. And I had it there. I had the files because they send you paperwork that has all the like Aztec like codex and all like that stuff. All the elements, everything.
That's so cool.
And I had it for a while, and I was using the Jaguar logo when I still had my old name.
Yeah.
But then I officially was like, you know what? I'm going to change it because I was running into an issue because there's a Mexican singer in Mexico with the name Santos Guzman.
Oh, okay.
And our songs were getting mixed on YouTube.
Oh, okay. The algorithms were
yeah, literally our songs. Yeah, like, and like the playlists and stuff would have songs of his and mine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I was like, dude, I got to switch this.
Right.
And I've changed my name so many times that I was kind of hesitant, but then I was like, nah, who cares?
Right.
And there's still people to this day, like, that still call me by my own name because they don't know that I changed it.
You just changed it or whatever.
And I'm like, yo, man, I changed it. And like, oh, what?
Well, you should know they're the day ones. They're the ones you're like, oh, okay, you've been fucking with me for a minute because you know what I mean?
Even my own DJ, he'll mess up sometimes. He'll be like, oh yeah, Santos good. Oh, what? And he's like, sorry, bro. And I'm like, dog, stop. I'm like, come on, man.
Did you ever do that ancestry or anything, the DNA test and stuff? I know you have. So
I haven't. No, I haven't.
Would you?
Oh yeah,
I would. Yeah,
okay.
I would. Yeah,
Bro.
I know there's supposedly, like, they say, like, oh, they have your DNA, but it's like, who cares?
They have it anyway.
Like,
they probably have it anyways. All the doctor's visits I've been to, the blood I've had drawn, the COVID test. And I'm nobody. What the fuck they gonna do with my DNA?
They're gonna make a clone, bro.
That's cool. I'd welcome that.
No, but what was your ancestry?
It was so cool. So when I did it, my homeboy at work actually did it, and he's white, and he was just like, I want to do it, like, you know, because his family, and I feel like a lot of like people of Caucasian descent have a really good history or like record of their history. Yeah. And so he was like, I just want to match it to like what my grandfather says and this and that. And his came back pretty much right in line, right? Mm-hmm. He was 99.9% Irish German, which that's what his mom knew and his dad and them knew, but he was just like trying to search to see if there was something else. And he talked me into it. He's like, dude, you should do it. You know what I mean? Because I was like, I really don't know. Like, I know my grandpa and I know my grandfathers or my grandmothers. And we know, me and Rome know at least one great grandparent or two like great grandparents, because our mom's side, they were alive long enough for us to have like relationships with them, right? And he's a Spaniard, Grandpa Garcia, and then she was like a Pueblo Indian. And so then on our dad's side, we didn't really know much other than like the two families we came from. Like the Lopez family and then the Rocha family, right? But they were from Texas, and so it's pretty much just Mexican. So I was like, okay, yeah, well, I'll do it. And so when I did it and the results came back, it was pretty cool because I'm literally like, even renowned here at Rome, we're literally half Mesoamerican and half Spanish. Wow. Like I'm 39% Spanish, and then like 47% Mesoamerican, Native American.
Oh wow.
And then there's like a little bit of African in there too. So like it's just those three cultures like that mended together.
So the Mesoamerican, there's more though.
Yeah, there was more
that.
Meso blood. And what's crazy is now that after I did it, other family members did it, and our great uncle, so our tío Neto, he did it. He is 70% Meso.
Oh wow.
Yeah, 70%, bro. So I was like, whoa, holy shit! Like that indigenous blood runs deep in us, deeper than we thought. Because like every Mexican is indigenous, but there's gonna be a lot of Spanish influence and shit like that. But it was really cool, dude.
It's part of that colonization, right?
Yeah.
That we're just like, oh, well, because I remember even in elementary we were looking up our last names, our coat of arms,
right.
And, a white teacher, mostly white class. And, they looked up Guzman and like, oh, Spain and this and that. But I'm just like, that doesn't mean like I'm Spanish.
Yeah.
I still haven't done it. So who knows? I could have Spanish blood. But I'm just saying, like, I've heard people's logic of like, oh, well, my last name's Spanish, so I'm Spanish. Right. It's like, no, you're not. Like, you look straight up native.
Right,
like,
exactly. Dude,
like, we got colonized.
Right.
Like, they put the name on you and like, but they say that the Americas. Yeah. And especially Latin America, like the majority of the population of Latin America, specifically, I know Mexico, like, I think it's like 60% of the population is native. Yeah. Yep. Or like more than that, maybe 70. Right. And then, but what they tell us is this whole idea of mestizo. Right. When reality is that was actually just propaganda by the Spanish. Right. To what's the word? Europeanize, like colonize and Europeanize the native. Like if we can make you associate more to the Spanish blood, then we'll get you more away from your culture and what you know. And that's why like you go to Mexico and you'll see a straight up dude that looks native be calling you like a pinche indio, and you're like, what?
Bro? Like, look at you. Like,
what? You're like, what?
I heard not even
sad.
long ago. I don't know the how many years, but really recent, like within 100 or something. They didn't speak Spanish. They spoke actual native
language.
Yeah, now what? It's all. Yeah,
and that's sad too. That it was only 100 years. That it happened.
It's quick,
and I hear that it's only 15 years to change a whole culture. Like, so if you want kids and stuff like that to think different, act different, be different, behave different. Yeah. Only 15 years. Yeah. Well, as long as you're perpetuating it through media and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to think, bro. Like especially the Western United States and Southwest, right? When it became America, right? When it became part of the like Louisiana Purchase or whatever, they Americanized all the Mexicans that were here already. Yeah. And instead of being, like Jorge, they would like, you're George. Like if you're in class with other Americans, you're going to be George, Yeah. And there's families that just kind of took that and went with it and like married white and lightened their skin up, and now you got like people who are Sanchez or fifth generation or Guillen, and they go by Gillen. Yeah, and it's Guillen. It's like your last name's Guillen, bro. Like, no, I'm Gillen. I'm Peter Gillen. It's like, no, bro. Like that's literally a Spanish last name, Yeah. But they like you said, it just takes that short amount of time to indoctrinate and make you like separate from your real culture, Yeah. And then even in Mexico, they wouldn't even sell land to people who didn't have Spanish blood for a long time. Like if you had just Indio, like if you were just, from a Native American tribe, you'd have to prove you have some kind of Spanish ancestry, like a grandpa or a parent, and then they would sell you land. Yeah. And so they did it that way too. So it not only like psychologically, but economically, they fucking influenced and like that,
some bureaucratic.
Yeah, some bureaucratic Europeanocracy shit, European shit,
It's crazy, bro. No, it's wild. Yeah. And I mean, it makes me think like, what is it going to take to, because there's prophecies out there that there's going to be an awakening, and it's happening right now. There was like an Incan prophecy that says when the condor of the south, like that, in like Peru area, like meets the eagle of the north, like there's going to be an awakening in the culture. Yeah. And, obviously like a lot of South Americans are coming to the U.S. for economical reasons, and, saying all these things that like are not coincidences, right? And for the longest time, growing up and hearing the narrative of illegal aliens, like there's just so many little things that they've done to try to like make us forget that we're from here, right? By calling us aliens.
Exactly.
it's like, no, we're not aliens. Like, you guys are aliens. Like, we're the ones from
here. We're the
here.
ones that have been here.
I saw a movie where, this white dude, he was in Hong Kong or whatever, and she's like, what makes you an expat, and not an immigrant? But when my family moved to the States, and they worked hard, and, for 50 years, and, developed a whole life, they're immigrants.
They're still immigrants.
Right. Yeah. So
the wording,
exactly.
The wording is huge.
It's crazy. Even
and different communities get different wordings.
Yeah, exactly.
From other countries
and stuff. And I mean, even just like in America, like I didn't know that the phrase or the like labeling Latino came from the white man.
Yeah.
Like they literally labeled that to categorize Mexicans that were here. And they needed to, make them Americans because they were on American soil. They couldn't send them back because they didn't know anybody in Mexico, right?
Yeah.
And so they're like, okay, well now we're making this subgroup called Latino.
Yeah.
And they brought or Hispanic, and they brought that name to us. You know what I mean?
And that's also obviously associated with like European standards, right? Yep. But they're just saying, oh, you speak Spanish or you have a Spanish last name, you're this now.
Right. Yeah.
Again, another way to remove you from like the nativeness of the culture. Yeah. And that's a lot of people, man. It's crazy. Like I have friends and everybody. That's how everyone talks. Oh, I'm Hispanic or I'm Latino. Yeah. And I'm just like, it makes me cringe. I'm like, no, you're not. Like you're not European. Like, or like, I mean, and there are some, and that's the thing too. Right. Like when you go to like Mexico and whatever, like, because that's where I've gone. It's like you'll see like more European Mexicans, right? And that's another thing that's happened in Mexico is that Mexican has become more of a nationality versus a race or culture.
Gotcha. Right.
So you'll have the Whitexicans being like, "No, I'm Mexican, dude." Like wearing like native feathers. I'm native. I'm native, and you're like, no, you're not. You're like, dude, like, stop. There was a couple kids like that at the U too, man. Yeah. With all the like the little like Latino groups and stuff they had there. They were doing a lot of like, oh, Native American this, that. But it's like there was kids in there that like just were running with it. That didn't really have that ancestry. Yeah. And it's like, yo, it's cool that you want to rep and you want to hold it down for the cause and protest. Right. But it's like, you
gotta have that blood.
Yeah.
I know when I boxed and stuff, like I don't weigh a lot, but I boxed like a heavyweight. He's like, just don't go hard on, or don't go easy on me. Yeah. And then, I was like, okay, you could, just do whatever you want to do. Right. And then after we sparred or whatever, he's like, dude, you're literally one of the hardest persons that has ever hit me. And then he's like, are you, because I look white, right? He's like, are you Mexican? I was like, yeah. He's like, that's what it is. It's like in you or something like that. I don't know what you're saying.
Yeah, bro. I really think that that plays a lot into it. Like we got that warrior blood, right? Yeah, you got to think before we were conquered, right? Fucking disease ridden before we could fight back. Conquered. We were fucking warriors, bro. Yeah. We were fucking warriors and shit. And we had a code of arms, like a code of conduct. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, of course, like the Aztecs, I've seen videos of people like, okay, well, yeah, the Aztecs were a great empire, but the Spaniards literally recruited other like indigenous tribes to come and take them over because how like much they hated them. Yeah. So yeah, but they were still fucking, they built their own civilization, and you wouldn't say that about like a Viking fucking culture or like, you know what I mean? You'd be like, oh, they were great. They were fucking warriors, and who cares who didn't like them? Yeah. But then because it's a brown skinned tribe that's like a badass tribe, they're like, oh, well, not everybody liked them,
Which was true.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the neighboring tribes and stuff. Like, not everybody, Because that's the thing is, like, we mostly learn about, like, Aztecs and Mayans. But obviously there was, like, so many more tribes. Yep. And obviously they fell in the subgroups. Like, they spoke the same language. Right. And there was maybe some different words. But, like, yeah, there was, like, they weren't, like the Aztecs were wild. Like, they were going and...
conquering and fucking, sacrificing and shit like that.
Yeah. And there was other people that were just chilling. Like the Mayans were very like they were big like into like meditation and they were more peaceful people.
Yeah, and like astrology and mapping out the stars and shit like that. Yep.
And that's why when you go down to that area, it's like the culture is still there. Right. Because they didn't fight. They weren't like, we're gonna fight you. Right. Yeah. And that's the thing, man, that's the thing that's funny is that history and like these like videos will tell us, oh, the Aztecs just disappeared out of nowhere. Right. We don't know what happened to them. Go to Rancho Market and you'll see them. Or go to Mexico City and you'll see them. It's just that you don't think that that's what's happening. Yeah. Because, whatever, colonization again.
Yep, colonization. They want us to think that we just up and disappeared.
Yeah, we just vanished.
And that whole, like, going back to the whole Great Awakening thing, like, I really do feel like a connection to that. Yeah, because... like you even see natives, like people who are American native, like I guess Plains.
Yeah, like here in America.
Yeah.
US.
And they're now recognized and they're like, yeah, Mexicans are natives. You know what I mean? Like I've had homeboys who are native and they're like, yeah, of course. Like, yeah, you guys are native, you know. We all started and came over here as one people and then just migrated. Some people just went more south and some people went all the way down to, you know, South America and all that. Yeah. And we colonized this whole continent before anybody knew about it. Right. And we had like, and so, yeah, there's more of us than there are of them, really, if you think about it. And that blood's still there. Yeah.
There is technically in this whole continent. There's more brown people or native blood in this whole continent than there is European. But colonization and I don't know, man. It's
ideologies too.
Ideologies. It's a trip.
So like the new culture and stuff like that, like say like Chicano or like, you know, like I don't know. Let's say like the bad stuff. Not it doesn't have to be bad, but like, you know,
gangs and
stuff like that. Do you think that was like implemented, or is just because we had the economic restraints on us and stuff, so we just developed these things, you know, to push drugs? Or what do you feel like?
I think it's the same thing. It was pushed upon us, right? And we had to do what we had to do to survive, like the cultures and stuff. And the thing about like Chicano culture, right? It was a response to them not being fully accepted by Mexicans, and so it was just like they were like anti-heroes, you know what I mean? They were like, okay, if you don't accept us, we're going to be our own people and we're going to create our own like culture and stuff like that. It just happened that it was in inner cities here in the United States, like Los Angeles and stuff like that. And that stuff like gangs, drugs and all that was just there. So they had to make that a part of their way of life because that's the only way they can get enough money to afford like the resources like houses and cars and shit. Because they weren't getting hired at like factories and stuff because it was whites only. You know what I mean? Or you had to know somebody to get in, and the white guys are like, oh, you know, we're not gonna let these, you know, Mexicans work here, just like we're not gonna let the blacks work here, you know? And so they had to create a way of creating income, and unfortunately it was some shit that was illegal, but they had to do what they had to do. So
I was listening to it's like a spiritual teacher. He's like this Indian guy. I forget his name. He's really famous. Like if you go look up spiritual videos on YouTube, I don't know. He has like a beard. His name is like Raj. I don't know his name. I forget it. But he's really famous. Okay. Like he's up there.
Yeah.
And anyways, he was talking about like human nature and how like, for example, how gangs come about, or like when like kids are growing up, like as human beings, there's this thing, I forget what it's called, but it's basically what like culture would do to like, so when you have culture, that's why like so the reason why gangs happen and stuff like that, because there's a lack of culture. Because when you have culture and you say, you know, for example, like let's just go back to the warrior days, you know, when you hit 12 years old, you're going to start learning how to do this and do that and this, and you become a man and this and this, whatever, right? Tradition and that and that. And so like when that stuff gets, you know, colonized and taken away, the human nature is still there of wanting to be a part of a pack. You know, you're 14, 15 years old, and that's where like gangs happen because kids people want to be accepted and they want to, you know what I mean? Because it's like, I used to think all the time, you know, growing up, I was kind of that a-hole that would be like, oh, these little gangsters and stuff, like, come on, what are you guys doing? Like making us look bad and stuff, you know? Like that was me back growing up, you know, like I would have hate for my own people, but it was like,
you wanted them to do better.
Yeah, because so they were falling like, into the stereotype.
Type of thing or
exactly. It wasn't like that. I was like I hated them, but you know, but then I started questioning like why, you know, like why do these kids end up in those situations? And it was like because they want to be accepted, or you know, like the situation at home,
or it's like generational or something.
There's a lack of culture.
Lack of culture.
Also a lack of, you know, what's it called? Capitalism, right? Parents have to be at work all day working to just survive, and kids don't have any guidance or nothing. What do they see? Propaganda on TV. Like, dude, I saw a video about Busy Bone openly admitting for the first time ever in his life, back in the 90s, he went to a meeting with a whole bunch of higher ups in the record labels.
So he was at that meeting?
Okay. He was at the meeting. It was a secret meeting. And for like 15 years, he couldn't talk about it because if he talked about it, something would happen. Whether it was like, we won't let you on TV, we won't let you, whatever. We're going to close you off. We're going to censor you.
Was it about the private prisons? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
Have you seen it?
I didn't see. I've read about that. But I didn't know he was.
So he talks about it. He doesn't say who else was there. He said there was other big artists there at the time. that were also invited. And these record labels, these rich white men were pretty much like that. He had no idea who they were.
Right.
He knew maybe one record label dude, and then he had all their like business partners that were funding the label or whatever.
Like that,
And they were like, all right, we need you to fucking Douglas Rugger Spawn. We need you to promote drugs, partying,
violence, and all
gangsters,
that shit.
you know what I mean? And it's like, and we were all cool with that.
Right.
We were all like, gangsta party.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's like, damn, they fucking got us, dude.
They did.
And it's like,
and it's our own people who got us because they're the ones that had the influence to push it.
Yep.
And to get paid or
they're being puppets
money,
pretty much.
to make money off of it. Yep. But what are you doing? You're turning your back on your own people to selling them out, I guess.
Pretty much. And it's crazy, man, because it's just like you don't realize what's going on, you know? And like from like these spiritual videos that I see, I think it was when COVID started. These videos they were talking a lot about how like everything that was happening, they were like, there's just an awakening that's happening. Yeah. And this whole like COVID thing is just kind of like the face of it. Right. But like spiritually and behind the scenes, it's like there's a lot of stuff that was in the dark that's coming to the light. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Because you guys remember when the whole children thing was going on, the rings.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. All this stuff started coming out. Yep. And you're like, what the fuck? You know?
That's true, because like the whole like Pizzagate shit and all that was coming out. Yep. Everything was starting to be
into a bunch of shit.
And then all of a sudden the pandemic.
WikiLeaks,
and also the pandemic hit us.
And that's what
true shit. People are leaving jobs too, or something like they're realizing that they're worth more or something, or they don't have to participate in something that's that's benefit them.
That's
another thing. Another part of the awakening is that people are starting to realize that like, hey, why am I giving up so much of my time to get pennies from you so that I can have like a mediocre life? Like I want to live a life that's fulfilling. I want to live a life that like I want to be in, you know what I mean? And so that's like, and I know there's a lot of people who are still trapped in the matrix that are like, well, why are they not working? And it's like, no, dude, they literally realize like, hey, this is not the game I want to play. You know what I mean? Like this game has been here and everybody's been in the game. One player falls dead, the other player takes his place in the game, and they're like at the board table like, oh, I'm in the game now, And there's people now looking at that and they're like, I don't want to play your game. Like I no, thank you. Like I'm gonna go find another game or create a whole new game or whatever. So that's why people are doing like crypto. That's why like NFTs and stuff like that are starting to make millionaires and stuff, because people are like, I want another way out. Yeah. Like, fuck the grind, like what they call the grind, right? What's been presented to us as the grind. They're like, I want to do something on my own. It's fulfilling, like I said,
Yeah.
Do you think it could be a part of a bigger plan though, to like crash the economy, start a new system or something like that, or like I don't know.
I've heard about that.
Anything like
could
that.
Be. Yeah, because they're trying to. Right, the whole like the Masons and all that, they're really trying to push that one world order thing.
Yeah, like the Agenda 21, where they depopulate.
And all that stuff is out there, man. That's the thing that's funny is like when people are like, oh, conspiracy theory, this, that. It's like, dude, like just go read it. Yeah, like, it's literally in your face. Yeah, and that's the crazy part, that it's literally all right there. Like in the history, like we all know that the Americas were started by Masons. Right, Mormons are hella Mason. Like,
that's so true, dude. Yeah,
they don't know that. A lot of ones don't know until they're on the upper level.
You know what's crazy? So tie in the whole like Mormon thing to even just like indigenous people. So I was watching this video of this guy, and he didn't even mean to do it. I just connected the dots. But he's from California. He was doing a history of California, right? And he was talking about how California, especially the coastlines, were inhabited by Native American tribes. And so when the Spanish came over, they were like, okay, we've dealt with so many of the Indian tribes in Mexico, and it was a hard battle. Like, we're going to try a different approach with these guys. So they had to capture some of them and then, like basically turn them into ambassadors for themselves, but by force, you know what I mean? But the church, so the Catholic Church started getting and rounding up a bunch of indigenous people, okay? And they called these indigenous people that would convert willingly, neophytes, okay? And these neophytes would go out and they would recruit other Indian tribes, and they would go and proclaim to them like, hey, come to the monastery, and you guys will be converted, and these people will take care of us or whatever. So that was just like one piece of the video, right? It goes into a lot more about like how they used to, the word I think rancheros came from indigenous horse riders that would round up other indigenous people, and that's what that was their job, right? But it was the Nephite, right? The neophytes. When I heard that word, because I've never been a Mormon, but I know a lot about like the Book of Mormon and stuff like that, because my friends, Joseph Smith literally said that the indigenous tribes were called Nephites. So the Levites were the whites, and they were the righteous ones, and the Nephites were the unrighteous ones. Yeah, and they were dark-skinned, and they were the rebellious ones against God and this and that. And I was like, holy shit. And this happened, all this stuff that I just said happened in like the late 1700s. And Joseph Smith wrote the Book of Mormon in like the mid 1800s. So he probably heard this shit. Yeah. You know what I mean? He was like, oh, what? Yeah, I can, I'm going to create a story about that. Like, that's interesting. I'm going to, and he was a tall tale telling motherfucker. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I heard that and it immediately connected the dots. And I was like, holy shit, like it makes sense now. Yeah. But that's literally what I've learned about like a lot of people in the LDS church. They look at not only like Native Americans, like here in the like United States, but like South Americans, Mexicans and stuff like that. They think, oh, well, these poor Nephites, they didn't have the word. So they're a lost tribe of Israel. We got to bring them back into the fold and bring them, the Book of Mormon.
I've heard that. Yeah. I've heard like a friend, and I got much love for the homie. We're cool. He's Mexican or whatever, and he's LDS. And I've heard him say stuff like that. Yeah. And I'm just looking at him, and he looks very native, bro. Right? Yeah. He looks literally like native, and he says, "Oh, I look Asian." I'm like, bro, that's the Native American blood, bro. Yeah, that's the Native American. I was like, Native American genes come from East Asian and Siberian, and that gene pool only exists in the Americas. Yep. I'm like, those two countries and those areas exist, but that specific gene only exists in this continent. Right. That's what is considered the Native American gene. Yeah. And obviously there's the variations throughout Canada to Argentina and all that stuff, whatever, because of the climate and all that diet. But yeah, dude. And he's like, oh yeah. He's like, yeah, that makes sense. But it's like, he said stuff like that. Oh yeah, like, see? Oh yeah, the lost tribe. Dude, like...
This is what they're indoctrinated
like the church the church has like images and this and that, like that they came and helped it. And I'm just like, bro, what? I'm like, bro, like what? Yeah. I'm like, no, there's no way, because you got to think about it. It's like, how are you gonna tell me that like this, like, because he's like, yeah, our people knew about it. They knew about it or something. I'm like, you're basically saying like this culture shows up and they believe in Jesus, right? And this, and then this culture over here like has their beliefs. So you're telling me that like they had no idea about Jesus, right? But like, you know what I mean? It's like, how are you going to like, right? You know what I mean? It's like, they didn't know about that. Yeah. Like, how are you going to like connect it?
Right. And they try so hard to do it. Like, and it's crazy, because we live in the land of Mormon, right? Yeah. We literally live in a republic that they built. And then they decided to join the United States because the United States was moving so far out west. They were driven out of Missouri. Yeah, they literally came here because they couldn't be in the United States. Yeah, exactly. The U.S. was like, you guys are fucking weird. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, they were running away from that problem.
And they had to come out west, and they settled here in Utah. And then, like, once they were like, whoever, whatever president had his eyes set on moving west, they were like, fuck, we got to join them now because they're too big. We can't run anymore. There's no more land, Yeah. But being that we are in Mormon hood, right, Mormonville, it's just hard to break that veil. Yeah. Like they have such a cloak over the population here, and the church, like there's no like church and state here, right? Like the church runs the fucking state, because even senators and governors and all that belong to the church. They pay their tithes to the church and stuff. So that ideology is just like baked in into all of our all our shit. You know what I mean? Like policies that are being made, the way that we're looked at. That this kind of ties into something else I heard you talk about on another podcast, where you were saying that like here in Utah, it just kind of feels like the culture, like minority culture suppressed. It's kind of suppressed here, and it kind of is, because like if you go to even, LA is like, everybody knows there's a lot of Mexicans there, right? Yeah. So the culture's like really, really popping there. Like everybody's knows it, and it's a part of the subcultures too. Yeah. But shit, even in like Chicago, Texas, you know what I mean? Like other parts where you wouldn't think there's as many Mexicans, but when you go there, they have their own little part of town and shit like that, and the culture's just like alive. Yeah. But here, it is suppressed. Like there's so much suppression of cultures here. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it happens, to all the people that they recruit around the whole world, right? Because you get every culture that's Mormon, but that's all suppressed. Right. You see Polynesians, you see Africans, you see Asian. Well, I've seen Asians that are LDS. I've seen almost every culture.
Everybody. Yep. But it's like their doctrine or whatever, it changes. Like in the 70s, because it was bad to be dark skinned, but in the 70s they changed it. Right. It's bad to be gay, but now they're like changing. They're updating it. They're changing it. So it's like, what does that say about? I don't know.
What are the core truths, and why are they being changed so much?
But now Coca-Cola, yes. It's like I don't know. It's like you could definitely have control over people. They're based solely off their beliefs or what they Yeah. But I don't know. It's like, what do you? I don't know. It's not a question, I guess, but it's like, what do you think history is going to go once it's all said and done in our era or something like that? Do you think the people who are famous and stuff like that now, they're going to be in history and it's going to be looked at that way? Or do you think people who are the independent creators and stuff like that, or are the movements that happen underground and stuff like that, and then it's going to come to the top?
I think that's a good question, and it made me just reflect on a lot of stuff that that you see nowadays, right? Because like if you think about, I mean, we're all like close to, I'm in my 30s, you guys are close to your 30s, Roman, you're in 30s too, right? Like we grew up in a period of time where like the celebrity was like the upper echelon of culture, you know what I mean, here in America, right? And like we didn't really see tabloids or shit like that as kids. We just saw the celebrity, right? And we were like, holy shit, like Dr. Dre, you know, like Eminem and stuff like that. And they were like bigger than life, larger than life, right? Where now with social media and stuff, you're getting a little bit, what I like about it is you're getting a little bit more relatability to these people who usually be on these pedestals, right? Like look at Kanye's situation. Like he posted that video today about him not being able to go to his daughter's birthday. Did you guys see that? So
I saw people talking about it. So he spazzed out. That's all I heard.
That he's like, it's his daughter's birthday today. And he's like, Kim won't reply to me. Kris Jenner won't reply to me. I want to see my daughter, right? And they're keeping me from seeing my daughter. And he's like, I even reached out to Tristan Thompson, was like, hey, what's going on, bro? And he's like, the family got you, like, you're on blacklist, bro.
Yeah.
You know, so he can't even see his own daughter. And then like you wouldn't hear that shit like back in the day, right? Because now he can just press live on his Instagram and say, hey, this is what's going on in my life. Like I want to be real with you guys for a minute. And like this is what's happening. Like normal shit happens to him. You know, anybody who's been in a separation and dealt with that, like going through like visitation and shit like that with your kids, you can relate to him. Where in the past, like you wouldn't see that shit with celebrities. So I think it's opening the public's eye and making us all more human, right?
Yeah.
So we have more empathy for these people, where you don't have to like look at them and be like, oh, well, they're up there, I'm down here. Now you can find like a commonality with them. And I think as we get further along, I do think more independent artists are going to be popular. It's not going to be with the labels push and stuff like that, because that veil is going to be gone. People are going to be like, well, you know, who is he? Like, you know, I don't follow him. I don't know him. I've never seen him like, you know, post this or that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so people are going to be more relatable to people who are like on shows that are local and shit like that. You know?
But is there a bigger picture, like an overarching thing that touches all genres, all media or something like that? Or is it going to be to where everybody's in, you know, their own algorithm where they're only focused on this section, this section? Does that make sense? Because back then, like you read a newspaper, everybody knows about it. I mean, I'm sure there's things today still that, you know, blanket the whole, you know, media or, you know, news, but I don't know, do you think it's like a little more divided? That's why people have their own quote unquote groups or something like that?
Probably, but that might be a good thing.
Okay,
I mean,
yes and no, I would say.
It's not centralized, it's decentralized a little bit.
They probably want to centralize it for that whole one mind, one world order thing, right? But it's probably not bad to have these little subgroups and stuff, because that's how we were before. Like before the Spanish came over or whatever, you know, we had our own little uninterrupted history.
Yeah, because there's diversity in nature. So
there should be diversity in human nature too. So.
Yeah. They talk about how, I heard someone say, I think it was a celebrity, they're like, one of the biggest mistakes people think is like, as soon as someone gets money, they're like not human anymore.
Oh yeah.
Because of that whole celebrity thing, right?
Yeah.
They're like, oh, people think like I don't feel, or people are all up in my face with cameras, or like, they're like, dude, I'm a human. Like, I gotta go do this too, or I gotta go do that, you know? It's like, people just like, and dude, it's crazy. I don't know if you guys have ever seen those videos of like Justin Bieber being swarmed by fans, and he's freaking out on them, or like some of these celebrities, to see shout out Tobey Maguire, the real Spider-Man. But you see them getting swarmed, and how like these people go crazy. They're like zombies. They're dude. They're just like like it's wild. Like they're just not thinking. Like,
exactly.
They're just freaking out. You know, and like, you know what's crazy is like when I was growing up as a kid, like I think we all like, that's why I started doing music, right? Because it was like, oh, I want to be famous. Like I remember listening to Radio Disney as a kid.
Oh yeah.
And hearing about
Radio Disney was sick.
Hearing about Lizzie McGuire and like these children celebrities. But now you watch the interviews with like a Paul McCartney and like these kids, and they're all fucked up. Or not Paul McCartney, Paul what's his name? Or not Paul He was a child star from the early 2000s. That was his name. He was on No Jumper, like a blonde kid.
Oh yeah,
Aaron
Carter.
Yeah, Aaron Carter. And he's all tatted now. His face is all tatted. And he's gone through a lot of drugs. And like, a lot of crazy stuff.
Fucks their life up.
And they just want the clout again or something like that. Or
because that's all they know.
Yeah.
And so, now that I'm grown, I'm kind of like, damn. I'm kind of thankful that I didn't go through that. And then I'm like, I've had my moments, like last few years, that I'm like, do I really want that? Do I really want that? Like where you literally can't walk anywhere. You can't go anywhere. Like
I would always want to be more rich than famous, because like the people in that meeting, or these CEOs or something, they could do whatever they want. You never even know they have money. They probably look good and well put together. But they could go to a grocery store. This way less hassle than somebody always knowing you, and even thinking you have more money than you do, or something like that. Because
that's a good thing too.
Because that's really what happens.
Is
that they're like they look rich, but they're not actually rich.
Right. Like look at Lil Pump. Lil Pump's like, isn't he fucking filing bankruptcy or some shit?
I don't know.
Like I seen a couple posts.
And that's the thing too. They could get money. They do get money too, but they blow it too, because they probably either owe the label or whatever the case is. Like dumb mistakes are made for sure. Because you think it's always gonna come in. Right. But it just it's not like that. There's always gonna be ups and downs and stuff like that. Yeah. But I don't know if you guys were famous and stuff like that, like how long do you think it would get tiring or something like that, for people to be like constantly?
It would have to be built up. Like I think like even with Justin Bieber, right? Because like he hit it big young and stuff like that. He's like, and he's kind of lived it. He's lived in it, right? And it becomes frustrating. Like all these fans all the time coming at you. No. But can you imagine if it all happened at once? Like let's say that one dude, that D's Nuts dude, right? You guys heard this? The tragedy about him.
Yeah, the tragedy. So I saw him at the Vegas airport.
Oh,
did I tell you about that?
I don't know.
It was when I was still working with you.
Oh shit!
It was when I was coming back.
Was he doing bad?
Yeah. He just looked normal. He was just sitting there, and I didn't. I knew who he was. Yeah. But I don't know. I just didn't want to be a groupie.
Yeah.
But he was just walking around on his phone. Yeah. He had his mask down.
Yeah. It was sad because there was that video of him where somebody approached him. He's like, "Oh, I thought you were gonna hurt me." And like, people probably do that. Right. Shit. Like, oh, you're that guy. Yeah. And then
and that's the thing. He's like, it was overnight success. Yeah. Right. It wasn't built. Like it wasn't. Yeah. He didn't have to start here, go here, and then finally he made it. It was like overnight, everybody knows you. Yeah. That would be the worst. Like I wouldn't be able to be like, I would hate that. I wouldn't say I wouldn't be able to accept the challenge, but I would not like it.
What's happening with the Island Boys?
Yeah.
Have you seen?
Yeah.
When they went to the UFC fight?
Oh yeah. The crowd people wanted to fight them.
And they probably don't have the temperament to hold back or restraint. So they're like, oh, then come over here. They like make the scene and stuff.
Even bigger. Yeah.
So
even Logan Paul's podcast.
They had a problem.
They had to walk off because they felt disrespected by the dude that was on there. And it's like it sucks because it happened to them so fast. Like they became overnight celebrities, and now they haven't had time to work on themselves really. They're just the same person they were before they got famous.
Exactly.
And you kind of do got to be like, I'm sure even you, like when you first started, you had like ambitions and stuff like that coming in, but there was probably people that you looked up and you're like, man, if I get to that level, like, man, I don't even think I'll be able to get to that level. Mm-hmm. And now that you're at a level where like a lot of people know you and you get, you're on shows and stuff like that. Like, can you talk about like where you were then versus where you are now? And that's going to kind of like give you a little bit of a scope of if you get bigger, like how it's going to feel. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So like one thing that I've noticed, like when I run into people that knew me from back then at Speedy G, like it's weird to see the reaction when I'm like I'll go up to them and I'll know who they are because I know them from back then.
Right.
And I'll be like, dude, it's finally nice to meet you. I'm like, and I'm like, and they're still just kind of sitting there. They don't realize. Yeah. Like, I'm like, hey, bro. I was like, yo, I remember you from back in the day. Like, I used to go at Speedy G. Yeah. And then as soon as I say that, they're like, oh, like that. But it's like I've gotten like a reaction where it's like they're laughing, So it's like, oh, okay, like you saw me as like a joke or something. Oh, right. You know what I'm saying? Like you saw me as like you're kind of like.
They didn't take
that's you. Yeah, they didn't take me serious.
And
Yeah, and they were pretty much like, oh shit. Like I've had all types of reaction. Like I had one where it was just like they were kind of just laughing the whole time, and then I've had like OGs that used to do music, whatever. They're like, oh man, you've grown up, or you come a long way, or dude, you're still doing it. Like it's been positive and negative. Okay. But I've had people that are just like, oh no, like they're just kind of still joking and making fun of it. Like they didn't take it serious.
Right.
And like in that moment, you kind of realize you're like, I was just so in my own world when I was 15 years old, and I believed this idea so much that I was like, I'm this guy, and I'm doing it. I don't care. I'm 15. I'm up in the bars performing, whatever. And believed in myself so much that I just was like tunnel vision.
Right. That's what you have to be too, though, because it's like if you like, you have to like I'm the artist. I'm whatever, the rapper, whatever it is. Like if you don't believe that, or if you don't see yourself as that first, like constantly, everybody else has to be like, it has to relate to other people.
Right.
Like, I'm this, so other people be like, oh, Santos, the artist, the musician,
right.
And that's also a double-edged sword, because recently I feel like I've kind of had this experience where I'm just like, my DJ was telling me this. He was just like, he's like, man, like, I feel like you've put in a lot of work towards like Santos, but you haven't really focused on like Steven, because Steven's my real name. Yeah. He's like, you haven't really focused on Steven, like behind the scenes and stuff, like in your personal life. And I was like, damn, for real, that's true. I was like, I've gone so hard like with my music and everything there. In that world, but like I haven't really been focused on my personal goals and my like personal things. And so that's where I've been really at lately, that I'm like, nah, man, because it felt like I was living two lives sometimes, because it was just so like I was over here, and then not just that, but people also have a certain perception of you because you're that thing.
Do you feel like you have to play the part because they have that perception?
It depends on the situation, but I try to just be me at all times. I'm gonna be authentic. Like times that I go to like LA where it's like DJs, artists, and it's this world.
Right.
I'm just being genuine and honest. I'm not gonna be like, oh yo, what up? Look at me, man. Because that's not who I am.
But if you take an extra drink or something like that, or like you feel like you have to flirt with the girl or like show out or something, I don't know.
I mean, I've had. I mean, not like with like a crowd. I've been. I feel like I'm having deja vu right now, but
cool. Good.
That's cool. That means I'm in the right place. But I've had more with like girls, like where I have kind of tried to flex that, but I've gone to the point where I just stopped. Like, like to me, like I'm like I don't want to use that as like a thing, right? Because then you get like clout chasers too, like girls. Just like
for sure
they just want to be around because of it. Like so nowadays I don't like I tell people I do music, whatever. Like girls that I'll be dating, but like I'm not like. Like all like this that
Yeah, because you don't want to have a Drake situation where you gotta get the hot sauce out.
He told me about that today.
These are perfect. These are perfect tags, bro. For Drake. You've been hitting some good modern topics or recent topics.
And he didn't know about it, so Ronan didn't know.
Is that really true though,
bro? Yeah. So I had to look because I laughed at the memes, right? And I didn't understand at first, so I always research shit, whether it's like new information or just like memes and shit. I gotta research it to see like if it's true or where it came from, right? I'm just that type of guy, I guess, weirdo. But I looked into it and I was like, what the fuck? Like, so he hooked up with this IG model, okay? And I guess she's a pretty popular one. I don't know her name or whatever. But he hooked up with this IG model and he used protection, went to the bathroom, disposed of the protection, but I guess he throws hot sauce afterwards. He throws hot sauce in there to kill the sperm. So he throws hot sauce, shakes it up, throws it away, right? So this chick goes in after him, removes the condom, finds it in the trash, right? Removes it and tries to impregnate or inseminate herself. Yeah. So she was trying to like catch a baby, right?
And that's when she got
burned it. So she's in the like according to the report, she's in the bathroom screaming like, "What the fuck?" Like burning. And he goes in there like, "Oh shit!" She must have like found the condom and he, what the fuck? Like I can't believe she's doing this.
Right.
And then she tries to flip the tables on him and she's like telling people that he put hot sauce on his shit or whatever, and then she's like trying to sue him or whatever, and he's just like, you literally tried to like fucking scam me and have a baby with me that I don't want, you know what I mean?
So that's crazy, bro.
I wonder, does he have a little small bottle on him all the time?
That's the joke. And that's the joke. That's the meme.
And what hot sauce is it? It's Tabasco?
Right, yeah.
We want to know. Man. So that's how it came out that she reported it.
Yep. And he did the most gangster shit. He commented on just one post. I can't remember who put it up. Like probably one of these like big blogs or whatever. And he just said, he's like, go ahead and have your 15 minutes of fame. I'll take the rest of the 23 hours and 45 minutes. So it's a flex. Like, go ahead, like, whatever, let this story come out or whatever. You're going to have your little moment, but I'm fucking Drake,
That's true.
So
everything always blows over if you're...
So you don't want to have those moments is all I'm saying, Santos.
That's a good idea, though, actually. Yeah. I'm not going to lie. That's actually a pretty good idea. Yeah. But, I mean, I'm not at that level yet. I'm not at that level yet where they're trying to,
watch this in 5 years.
No, I'm going to tell, well, I mean, like, I recently had, nothing happened, thankfully. Yeah. But I did have, like, this one girl that was kind of she was kind of joking about getting pregnant. And I was just like, yo, you better be playing.
Right.
Like, you're not. And I even hit her up a few months later after we kind of had a falling out.
Right.
Just, like, on some peaceful stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, how you been?
Right.
How you doing?
Yeah.
Because, like, I was telling my homie, like, the story.
Yeah.
And I was like, bro, I don't know. Because she, like, blocked me. So I'm like, I don't know, like, what if she's pregnant, you know?
Yeah.
And he's like, bro, hit her up and like see, you know? And I did, and she never answered. So I'm assuming to this day she's not pregnant. Yeah. Because I'm pretty sure she would have told me if she was.
Hopefully, like, I mean, you don't want to be shady with that shit.
Yeah. But you never know, though. Because there's women out there, too.
They'll hide it or keep it to themselves.
That are like, I'll raise this baby by myself.
Right. Yeah.
Type thing. They're those type.
That's what the DNA test.
Speaking of which, you know what's funny about the whole DNA thing? So going back to like taking the DNA test. Yeah. So our cousin did the same thing after all the familia started doing it. And he got matched with somebody that was his first cousin, right? And long story short, like she reached out to him. She lived out here in the Salt Lake Valley and was like, hey, I don't know my dad. And we're obviously not related on my mom's side because they're white. So like, who's your family and stuff? Fucking come to find out, it's mine and Rome's sister. We found a sister after yeah.
I think you told me this.
I think I did, yeah.
We were working together. You're like, I just not had a sister.
Yeah. So it was crazy. So that the DNA test just like brought in and revealed to us a sister that we didn't know our whole lives, and now we're like super close to. And
from your dad's side?
Yeah. And our dad had a baby.
At least she's over 18. He didn't pay child support.
But it was cool. It was like,
but he never knew, or
no, he didn't know.
She never told him.
Yeah. She didn't. So same thing. That's what I was bringing it up. Yep. Not wishing that on him at all.
Yeah, no.
But, yeah, like that was crazy. And so, yeah, that shit happens though. Like women just for whatever reason, out of pride or whatever, don't want to say, or maybe they don't know, whatever, you know, or embarrassment. Yeah. So they just don't want to bother the guy with it or whatever, you know? And so, yeah. But hopefully not. I'll knock on wood again for you.
Yeah, I don't think so. Because we have some mutual friends. Yeah. So I'm like, I'm pretty sure it would have got to me.
It would have come out by this point, huh?
But I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'm good out here.
We did work together and stuff. We don't have to go into detail and stuff, but I don't know. We asked Glocko what was his first job. I'll ask you, like, what was like your favorite job? What's one of your favorite? What do you like doing? Yeah.
Favorite,
or that you're good at, or that you know comes easy to you, or something.
I don't know, man. I would say like what I would want to do is, I do graphic design right now. Yeah. Freelance. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't mind doing that for like a company or something. Cool. Or something potentially. Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know, because I've had all types of jobs, man. When I was like fresh out of high school, I worked at the Boys and Girls Club with little kids and stuff, and that was stressful and exhausting. That was probably the most stressful, exhausting job I've ever had in my whole life.
Yeah, so much energy.
And
dude. Stuff like that.
At 18 years old, just like coming home, like and feeling like a exhausted, bro, drained.
Oh my gosh, it was like, I mean, it was out there like what, the Sandy area, or like,
Sandy Midville,
a lot of kids and stuff, big population metro area.
Kids though, or was it?
It was a lot.
Or was it a little?
It was like half and half.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
We had like the 2-3 little troublemakers,
right? Yeah.
And because each staff, we had like 8 different staff. We would all have like a grade type thing.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Or I guess 6 staff, because 6 grades or whatever, because we did elementary. And so it was a trip. And then my first ever job was I was a sweeper at the middle school I went to when I was 15. Yeah, just a little part time after school. So I started working when I was like pretty young and stuff.
Yeah, so. That's dope. We worked young too, because our grandma ran a business. Our mom's mom, she ran a cleaning business, and like I would throw the trashes out at her like buildings that she had contracts for. Nice. And he would do the same thing. So we were like 15, 16.
I cleaned toilets. Bro, I cleaned toilets. This is an industrial
place.
It was bad.
So it was nasty.
Sometimes.
Bad, I worked hard for that money. I did, but.
Yep. But speaking of the youth thing, so I immediately thought, so me and Rome, back like a long while ago, we got into a little bit of trouble. And we had to do community service. Uh-huh. And one of the community service options we had was working at like it wasn't the Boys and Girls Club. It was one out here in Ogden called Youth Impact. Uh-huh. And we got to work there and volunteer there to work off our time or whatever for our community service. Those are some bad fucking kids.
Yeah.
Fucking bad kids. Like Oh, and they would use us, like they would use the volunteers as like the fucking meat to the wolves, you know what I mean? Like the fucking directors and the guys that actually work there would be like behind the scenes and shit, and like
that's about right.
Yeah, running the cool shit. Like they'd run like the bike assembly like garage and shit like that.
We saw a kid run into a van on a bike, like bust his face, like
yeah. we were probably like 17, like 18, 19 or something like that, right? We were like 18, 19, but this one incident, this fucking kid, because they had a bike workshop. It was like where they make bikes, right?
Yeah.
And they were making all these cool, like all these kids are making these BMX bikes. A couple kids were trying to make like a lowrider bike, whatever. One bad kid made this bike, and he was like going as fast as he could and hitting the brake, right? And just as fast as he could and seeing how long he can skid or whatever. And he comes, and me and Roman watch him, and there's this van parked that they would go and pick all the kids up. And he tries to hit the brake, and he hits the brake and slides right into the back of the van. His face first, bro. And he comes away from it, and you can see he's stunned, like, you know, like just took a hit. And he's like, oh, and me and Rome we couldn't help it, bro. We started laughing. Yeah. We just laughed.
His tire was stuck under the van.
Oh, it is so hard. Yeah. We were laughing, bro. We were like, oh, fuck, we gotta calm down because they're gonna fucking like kick us out.
Yeah.
We're laughing at this little kid but he was an asshole.
Yeah. That's probably the best. That's probably the best when you see something with these little kids. I've gone through that.
Yeah.
Some of these little bad kids.
Yeah.
When something would happen to them, it was like, sorry, bro, you're right.
Yep.
I'm like, Jesus.
So being like, because I would say you're connected, right? You like to reach out to people and stuff like that. You're on social media. You show a lot of love. Does it have perks and stuff? Knowing certain people and stuff. Like, do you get in certain places free, or do you get like you don't have to name anything or whatever? But like, I don't know, is it a benefit to like knowing all these people like in these relationships or acquaintances or something?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, there's a few people that like comes with like perks and stuff. But that's, I think what I've learned too is like if it's organic and natural,
right?
Yeah.
Because it's like I could know. So for example, like locally or like in the Salt Lake scene, I would say there's probably like 3, maybe 4 DJs that. No, I would say maybe 2 that I would say I'm really tight with. Yeah. Like I know a lot of DJs in Salt Lake and they know me and we work together.
Yeah.
Been in the same space at shows and stuff. But like I would say out of like maybe the 15, 20 that I know, like the 2, I could say I can like maybe really rely on those 2 where I can get perks as far as like, oh, you're at this club this time and I'm not performing. I can go on stage with you. Cool. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But like I will know so-and-so, like we know each other, we're cool with each other, we show love to each other, but we're not on that level where, and I've tried it, where I'll be like, hey bro, can I hang out on stage with you? And then they'll be like, oh, sorry, like we're too many people up here, or no, you can't, or whatever, whatever excuse, whatever. And it's like, part of me, you know, like my part of me is like, oh, what the, but then the other part of me is like, nah, it's all good, because it's like, we don't really have a relationship like that, so I can't take it personal. And I have to check myself that it's like, I can't have that, like, what's the word? Like, entitlement.
Yeah.
Because, like, oh, I'm this artist and this and that, you know?
But at least you got that. Because there's some people that don't have that. Yeah, there's some people that just think they're entitled to have it. You know what I mean? And, like, it's like, well, what? Like, I'm so-and-so. Or I've known you. Like, whatever, you know? But it's like, bro, like, you just don't have the relationship. Yeah, there's a working relationship. And then there's, like, a personal relationship. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, that's really what it is. So that's the biggest thing that I've learned, you know? Because that's the thing, man, is that I've always... Like I enjoy networking with people. I enjoy connecting people. Yeah. Like I had a couple people tell me, they're like, you're really good at like bringing people together. You're like the plug. They're like, you've connected a lot of people, and I like that. But I know like, and I'm working on it. You know, like I'm getting better at it. Like I've had people kind of tell me like, you know, because I am very like, if I want to get something, I'll get to it. Or if I'm networking with someone or talking to someone, like I'm very on it. Like, like I don't know if it's like my ADHD or what, but I'm like super focused on it.
Okay, yeah.
You know, and it can almost sometimes come off a little annoying. And I've had people jokingly be like, bro, you're fucking annoying. And you're like, dude, like I got to get it done somehow. Yeah. You know, like I have that urgency, you know?
Yeah.
So
I think it means something to you, you know?
Yeah.
It means
I care about it.
Yeah. Because I can relate in certain situations, like especially growing up, I was really into things, right? Like I really get into, if friends were into something, they wanted to work on a project, or they wanted to do something, I would be the one that's like, yes, like this is what we should do this, or like I think this should happen. And then they'd be like, bro, you're taking it way too serious.
Yeah,
you know?
way
Like,
too serious.
And like make it like I'm like it's bad or like I'm stupid for thinking that way, you know? And I'm like, bro, like I'm like, I thought you cared, you know what I mean? Like I care about this, you know?
Yeah.
So I can relate, dude. I can relate to that.
Yeah, so that's what I've been learning a lot recently. Like just life in general has told me to like slow down and like relax, like, you know what I'm saying? Like everything will work out. Like don't force things because it's like there's just so many things that I want to do or work with so many people. And it's just like time will tell. And if it's meant to be, like whether it's, you know, a relationship in music or a relationship with like a partner, whatever, like it's like you just gotta like let it naturally happen. You can't like force it, or you can't be like, because social media is a trip, right? Because it's so like it's so instant and it's right there that we think we have access to people like this. And it's like, yo, like certain people, like just like if you go to a company, they have certain hours, you know, after 6, like you can't call us. We're not in the office.
Right. Yeah.
But social media take that away.
Oh,
right?
shit. Yeah. That's
because you have, you know, you have somebody and like, well, I can hit them up right now.
Right.
It's like 9 p.m.
Yeah.
And then people get mad because you leave them on scene. But you're like, bro, I'm like at home chilling. Or like I'm with my, you know, or whatever.
Right.
And I've been on both sides. I've been on both sides. I've been on the side where it's like, yo, what the fuck? You know, like, oh, I don't say yo, what the fuck. But like I send them another message. And that's where it gets like annoying. And it's like, yo, I just want an answer. Like, let me know, you know? And it's just like, oh, wait, no, hold on. Like even just earlier today, like I was messaging this girl that I want to take out, or this woman. She's a little older.
No, nice.
But she left me on scene, yo. And I'm like, and literally while I was driving here, I'm like, she left me on scene yesterday because I asked her. I was trying to ask her on a date. I was like, hey, how does Friday look like at nighttime? Because at first I asked her, when are you available? And then she didn't say anything. So I was like, no, I need to get more specific. And then she just left me on scene. So I'm just like, I was sitting there plotting like, damn, should I try to message her again? Should I try to ask her a different way? Should I just let her respond? Because it's like, you know, like, see, that's what I'm talking about. Like, I'm very persistent.
Got you. Yeah.
That's good though.
But it's like,
but yeah, a lot of people, they won't respond to it, or they'll think it's a certain way or something. Like with her, like if she's playing the game, like, oh, he's double texting me or something like that. Like
it can come off needy.
Or whatever, something like that. But it helps into your benefit in certain ways, like with your merch and stuff like that. You have like really quality merch, and I feel like you spend a lot of time, you know, finding your merch and like, you know, designing it, making sure the quality's there and stuff. So, and then like your music too. Like you have some of the best quality music and sounding music. So, and I don't know how long it takes you to like release a song, but every song is good.
Thank you.
Like for real.
Thank you.
So yeah, I don't know. I commend you for that, just because it shows the effort. The effort shows no matter how long it takes or whatever. But
thank you.
That's dope. That probably it plays a factor into why his quality is so good, is because that persistency, you know?
No, for sure. And it just depends on the track. Like if I'm working with like Adam Banks in Salt Lake, he'll have the track done within like, usually he can get it done that same day, like within a few hours, 2, 3, 4 hours, like mix and master. Or a few days. But everyone works so different. Like when I went out to Mexico in May to work on a track, homie that was mixing and mastering, this was Pasito Prohibido. He took like maybe 3 months working on the one track. And because I'm so used to like 2, 1 day, 3 days. What's going on? I'm over here like, dude, is this dude scamming me? I'm like, this dude just ran off my money. And I paid a lot of money.
Across your mind,
everything.
Everything.
Just the one track, I paid a lot of money. Like the most I've ever paid in my whole life. And, you know, I was kind of like, you know, I was like, what's going on? But obviously he's like credible and like he's up there in the industry. So I'm like, this dude's not going to do me like that. And obviously I got the track and everything. But it made me realize, you know, and even him, he kind of was telling me, he's like, bro, relax. Like, I got your track. He's like, I just want to get it right and stuff. You know, because he would send me them and I'll be like, this is dope. And I'm like, this is good. And then he'd send me another one, and I'm like, bro, I can't tell the difference. Like, he's like, well, you wouldn't know. And I'm like, well, tell me, because I want to learn. He's like, I changed a couple things. I'm like, what'd you change? And then he didn't answer me. I'm like, bro, like, tell me. Like, what did you change? Like, I want to learn, bro. Like, how do I learn and grow? Like, I want to be a part of this process. Like, you know? Like, I'm like, especially if I'm investing this much money and time into it, it's just like, you know, like, I don't produce, but it's like, who knows? Maybe one day.
Because what if you love it and then you have something to bring to it, you know? So, for sure. And Roman told me you went to Monterrey, right?
Yeah,
to do that.
Monterrey.
That's dope. I've always wanted to see Monterrey because from what I've seen in pictures, it has like mountains, mountains like here, like that'd be dope.
They're a little taller.
Yeah,
and they're not as rocky. Obviously, they're not the Rocky Mountains, right. But they're huge.
Yeah,
it's huge. It felt like I was in Utah.
Yeah,
the area we were staying in was like the nicer area, like the city, where there's like a lot of money.
Okay, yeah.
Because obviously, like, they have their hoods and stuff over there, too.
Yeah.
I didn't get to see them because the homie was living in, like, a pretty nice area. Like, I was, like, really surprised. Like, it felt like I was in the U.S. just because there was, obviously, they don't have, like, well, they do have Walmart, but, like, they have a, it's called Soriano, and it's like a Walmart.
Oh, okay.
But, like, you had a lot of, like, commercial buildings and stuff like that. Yeah, it was just modern city, like, modern city, like, barely nice.
Light-skinned people out there, too?
Yeah, a lot of, so northern Mexico in general has more whiter Mexicans and stuff. I mean, white Mexicans are all in Mexico, I guess. Right. But they're more up in, like, northern states like Chihuahua, Monterrey. And like they're speaking and like so the guy that I stayed with, because I stayed at his house, he lives with a DJ, producer, like they're all music people.
Just like all in one house. That's cool. Yeah.
And one of the DJs, his name is what's his name? Chusti or something. But anyways, freaking dude, German looking dude, like huge, freaking big old orange beard. Yeah. And you're like, hey, come the way. Like,
he speaks
and you're like
Mexican.
You're like, bro. You're like, bro, you're not playing a joke on me, are you? My bad.
No, you're good, bro.
The DJ's calling me. He's like, I was like, you're not playing a joke on me. And he's like, okay, wait, like he doesn't speak English. And you're like, the fuck? You're like, and I'll be telling him like, bro, I thought you were a white guy, and he just laughs. I'm like,
what the fuck's going on?
I'm like, what the?
That's crazy. So where's your familia from? Like,
they're from Jalisco.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, cool. So we're about 40 minutes away from Guadalajara.
Yeah.
So I grew up like when I was younger, since like a young kid, we were always going almost every year. So I was always exposed to like the ranch life because my parents were from like a small little like town. Okay. Like a little ranch town, like 40 minutes away in the middle of nowhere. Yes. Like on my dad's side, like I would say my dad's side of the family was more like middle class, little like barely touching middle class. Like they weren't like poor, but they weren't like wealthy, but like I don't know, supposedly like when I meet people from our town and I say like my family's name or I say Los Guzman or whatever, they'll be like, oh, Los Guzman, like our family members have like businesses and stuff. Like they have a perception that we're wealthy or we're stuck up on that side. But on my mom's side, they're what you would consider a little bit more like poorer, you know what I'm saying? They lived in the poorer side of town. And you know, like I'm talking about like, you know, my parents, like my mom growing up, she like when we would eat stuff, and I still have this thing to this day that it's like if someone leaves food behind, she'd always be like, you got to eat everything on that plate. Because we would grow up like nights where all we would have is literally tortillas and beans. That's it. Or literally just tortillas. Right. And we would make tortillas with sugar or salt. She would always be like, you need to eat all your food. Because like when we were growing up, like we wouldn't have any food or like this and that. And like, you know, like being a dumb, just kidding, being a dumb American, whatever, man. Like, you know, being a little stupid kid, like, you know, like we didn't know back then, you know, whatever, like, nah. But then you grow up.
When you grow up, it hits
you're like, you realize, you're like, whoa, they really were going through it. Like they weren't eating nothing for dinner, or like there was times where it was bad, or like, you know, this or that. And so, yeah, man, it's crazy. So I don't know, man, like, I don't know. I wouldn't say like, I feel like my parents are still like, I feel like we still need to like achieve more, you know what I'm saying? Like they've been at the same place locally, like where we grew up, like in the same kind of level. They haven't really like achieved, I feel like in my mind, the American dream, but maybe in their mind they have.
They probably have, and and that's good.
And then maybe they feel like they're like, we're doing good.
Because it could be way better than, you know, we could think of, you know, when they came up, like you said. So,
and every time I go over there, even the things that we do have that if I want to compare it to like society here in the US, I would be like, oh, we're not up to standard, like it's old, this, that, whatever, but it's like, when I go to Mexico,
right?
I'm like, dude, like I'm super thankful,
right?
Yeah.
You know, and
every house feels like a mansion or something like that.
Yeah, and I'm just like
when you're here, but over there, it's like garages or something like that, or like small. Like I don't know.
Yeah, like I know, and like on my dad's side, like their house was like it was kind of big-ish, like normal, I guess. And then my grandma's or my mom's side, it was like a little smaller, but you know, like it's like I don't know, it's like it was bad, but it wasn't as bad as you know we think, because it's like we're all seeing it from different perspectives. Yeah. We're seeing it from the Americanized perspective, and they're seeing it as just like, dude, I'm thankful to just have tortillas, and they're happy and enjoying their lives. So everyone's so happy and relaxed and nice, you know. And here it's just like, what do you want? What time do you know? This, you know, like consume, right? And I'm not saying it's not like that in the city, because it is, but where my family's from, they don't live in the city. It's very like, you know, like closed-minded, like country, like you know,
simple living.
Simple living. Because even when we go out there, they look at us kind of like, when I had a man bun like 2 years ago, and I remember this older guy came up and he's just like riding on his bike, and we're like sitting on the street, like outside the house, we're just like on a chair outside. You know, neighbors come by, hey, what up? They say hi to your uncle, and then like this dude like doesn't even know me, and he's like. Is that a girl or is that a guy? I'm like, and I got pissed. I was like,
find out, homie.
I was like, motherfucker, I'm obviously a man. And like I said in Spanish though, I'm like, the fuck, I'm a man. And then he just sat there like he didn't expect me to like, because he was joking. But it's like, bro, you don't know me like that. Like, what? Like, how you gonna disrespect me to that level, bro? Like you literally you just rolled on your bike. I don't know your name. I don't know who the hell you are. And you're just like, is that a man or a woman? And you're like, damn, son, those are fighting words. But he was like 60. So I'm just like, I just responded like pissed, like I'm obviously a man, but in Spanish. And then that was it. And then he just kind of was like, oh, like he was like, oh shit, like
it's kind of like the parents where they say like when they see younger people with ripped jeans and stuff like that, like why would you pay for ripped jeans and stuff? What do you think about like, you know, Tyler the Creator, or new rappers like painting their nails and stuff? Are they doing it only for profit, like to sell their own nail polish, or is it a fashion thing, or is there an agenda or something, maybe possibly?
Who knows? Like, no, I mean it's just fashion and style, you know what I mean? They're always trying to find a way to stand out, especially from the previous generation. I mean, you look at it, especially in hip hop, like they've got to up the ante. They got to be different. They got to separate themselves from the generation prior, you know what I mean? Where it was like, you look at even the first hip hop stars, they were like all gold track suits. You know what I mean? Looked like dope dealers. Then you got into
even before that.
That was like
they're wearing the tight jeans.
Oh and like the neon, like
I think it's kind of cool right now, but no,
but they have to do something different. They have to do something different. And then on the other side, who knows? It might be agenda shit. Because if you know, Bone Thugs, a member of Bone Thugs was saying about how they were told, hey, push violence. Push violence. Because they're like, hey, push this sexual agenda so that kids will think it's cool, and then you know we'll have less babies being born because we're gonna chop you motherfuckers up into some cattle herding shit. You know what I mean?
I think every generation definitely is pushing something to benefit something else. Whether it's the prison systems, whether it's, I don't know. Because even this whole like, and I know it could be controversial, but even this whole like LGBT and like how even with hip hop it's become more feminized and like there's a lot of things that are like getting really weird, like with Lil Nas X, everything. I'm just like, bro, I have nothing against that community, but I'm like, y'all are like, this is just horrible. Like, I don't know if y'all ever, like,
explicit is explicit, I guess.
Yeah, no matter what it is. You know, whether it's Nicki Minaj or Cardi B or Lil Nas X, it's like, that's just poison. Like, that's just, like, that's too much, you know? But it's like a double-edged sword, because it's like, as a man, you're like, we're not going to be complaining about Nicki Minaj. You know, we're going to be like, oh, yeah. But then it's like, oh, Lil Nas X over here fucking dancing with 6 naked guys in the shower. You're like, holy fuck. You're like, dude, change the shit up, bro. Like, what the fuck is going on, dude?
And are there that many gay people who are like listening to him to like, you know what I mean? Is there that many people in that community that are like want to see that and they want to see explicitly gay stuff?
You guys should ask some. You guys should invite a guest or a gay guest.
Hell yeah.
Like, how do you feel about Lil Nas X? Like, do you guys support him?
Because could it be like, because he's carrying the flag, right? He's carrying the flag for hip hop, right? Like gay hip hop artists and stuff. Okay. But could it be like gay people are like, well, we don't really fuck with him. Like, let's say,
but he's like a pop star.
Yeah, he's more like a pop star. But could it be like I don't know, like you think about. I can't even think about. Well, you know what? Okay, Fast and Furious, right? So Dom Toretto, Vin Diesel's character, he's obviously Hispanic, right? Yeah. And they're like, oh, he's the Hispanic guy in the movie. So Hispanic people are gonna watch this. Like he's fucking Italian and black. Like why couldn't you get a Latino to play Dom Toretto? You know.
I don't even think he represents Hispanic in the movie.
But people that aren't Hispanic will watch it like, oh yeah, he's Hispanic. Yeah, like this is this struggling Hispanic guy. You know. That's true.
So because they were kind of painting that picture a little.
They're kind of painting that picture. So
it was kind of blurry.
Yeah. So it's like to gay people is Lil Nas X that like they're like, well yeah he's gay but like we don't really fuck with him. Like gay stuff's this. Like gay stuff's like RuPaul's Drag Race and like the stuff we like, you know, this is just being pushed to youth.
Like a stereotype.
Yeah, it's like a stereotype type thing.
Because I remember like, dude, and like how the power of like media and propaganda, like I remember like, you know, we grew up on hip hop and like, again, we're realizing that it's all an image and propaganda. Right. And I remember being a teenager and like obviously in Utah there's not as many African Americans and like when I would meet African Americans that were never like the stereotype of like trying to be gangster or whatever, I would try to be like, oh bro, like I'd be like, yo, you know what I would like do things that I thought they would be cool with because that's what was being sold to you.
Yeah,
it was as black culture.
Yeah.
And then they're just looking at me like, why are you talking to me like that? Like I talk normal, like I don't talk like hip hop like that. You know, what they call
I think that's what white people do a lot. Right?
Yeah, where they try to relate to you.
They put a black accent on.
They try to be like, oh, hola, amigo.
Yeah.
And you're like, motherfucker, what? Like, no, you're good. I think that happened to us at work one time, maybe.
Oh shit, yeah.
Did it ever happen to you?
Dude, there's something that happened to me at work, and I'll make it a long story short. Because like we had an African coworker, right? She was
Diana.
Cool. Yeah. So basically, you know, some people would wear, because we worked in a clothing store, right? Some people would come in from the restaurant next to it and forget their mask, and they'd be like, okay, you need to put a mask on, right? And then they'd be, oh, I forgot it. Well, there was this dude, African American, with this girl or whatever. He was wearing a hat. That's our hat. And it had the cardboard in it. It had like the tag or whatever. And I was like, and they're going to pay. And I was like, oh, did you forget the hat to, you know, ring it up? He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, oh, you know, do you want me to scan that? And then he's like, oh, no, I paid for this. I paid for this. What, you saying I'm trying to steal?
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I didn't say that at all. I was just like, you know.
Yeah, we're here at checkout and you're wearing it.
Yeah, I just thought, you know, you forgot or something. And then, it just became a thing. But then I explained it to like, you know, obviously my team knew what was going on, but like I was like, I felt embarrassed. Like I wasn't trying to do that at all, but for his perception thought I was accusing him. I definitely wasn't.
But had he really paid for it?
Yeah, he did.
Earlier?
Yeah, he did.
So he got it and then he started looking for more stuff?
Yeah, he paid for it earlier. Because Diana or somebody was like, yeah, he was in here earlier. So I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. Well, you know.
Yeah, you were just asking. Yeah. Especially if it has all this stuff on it.
And then he showed me a picture with him like with racks. He's like, oh, look at this.
Like, why would I need to steal?
Yeah, I'm like, bro, that doesn't matter to me. It's like, oh, it does. I'm like.
Because he was just trying to flex.
Yeah, trying to flex.
He was just trying
He felt insecure, that's what I thought. But,
no, that's what it was.
What happened to you?
No, I think it was just like I don't know if it happened there at the job, but I've had people like in situations that try to talk to you in Spanish.
Oh yeah.
And you're just like, okay, like, I get it. Like you're trying to relate, you know, whatever. But it's like, dude, we can talk English, like it's cool. Like but it just depends on the intention and the energy of how they come off. Because sometimes it's like it can be genuine. Like they really are just trying to practice it.
Yeah.
And like they're actually good at it. And then there's people where they're just kind of being like what's the word? Like I don't know. Like you could tell they're just kind of like
maybe patronizing you.
Yeah, like oh hola, like
right.
And it was like, hey, you don't gotta do that.
Yeah,
like, cool. Like
do that at Ranchero Market.
Because man, it was I don't know. I don't know why. I just had a random thought right now that I never liked, especially when white men would call me, hey buddy, hey bud. Like that always to me felt really like demeaning.
Am I lesser than you? Like why am I buddy?
Hey buddy. Like why am I little buddy, dude? Like
right.
Like don't talk to me like that.
Yeah.
Like I've almost gotten in a fight, I think one time. because someone kept calling me buddy, and I'm like, dude, stop. Like, I don't like that. Like, it's. And I had one other person tell me a similar story. They're like, I don't like that word. I'm like, oh, dude, I thought I was the only one.
Right.
Because it's like, it kind of comes off. And I'm like, am I being insecure? But I think it just depends on how they say it.
Yeah,
right?
how they say it.
Because there are like, not just white people, but because of we're in Utah and the majority is white, it is mostly white people here.
Yeah.
But it happens, I'm pretty sure, everywhere, and every culture does it.
Right.
But like, where they like, you could tell, and we had this a couple times when we used to work at the airport, where like they just have this like demeanor that they're like better than you. And especially because you're working there, they're kind of just seeing you as this little worker, and then they're just kind of like, they're rich little people, right? And then they don't make eye contact, they don't care, they're just cold, they're like, you know, they probably have issues too, you know, that they're just trying to hide or whatever. Who knows? They probably have their own stuff, but like the demeanor, you know, and it's just like, yo, relax. You ain't better than me. And that's not just white people. Like, I've had other Latinos that have come off like that. I just can't stand people that come off like they're better than everybody. It's just like,
you don't know that person. Like,
we're equal.
You wouldn't give anybody a chance or something like that. Like,
it's just like, it's not cool, you know?
And that's why I mentioned, because you were such a good salesman, dude. Like, you talk to people, you make a lot of money. I was like, damn, like, he could run his own store or something.
Dude, and that's the funny thing is I never pay attention to them.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, like, they would always be like, oh, your numbers, this, that. And I'm like,
just being me.
I'm just chilling.
Good day.
Like, I'm just like, to be honest, I haven't looked at it. I'm like, I'm looking at it for the first time with you. Like, I'm like, I'm not really, I don't really care about that. Like, I was like, I enjoyed talking to people, and it was fun. I did enjoy that aspect of it, of being able to just like I would see a new person as a new opportunity to just like get better at my like talking or selling, you know, because I don't know, like I told like whatever, I can't remember his name, the manager at Lego, like I would tell him like, I'd be like, because he'd be like, oh yeah, you know, you want to try to get these many sales and goals and this, and you're the manager, so you need to like enforce that and that, and I was like, yeah, but like it's like, you want it to be natural. You don't want to force it because people can tell
if you're trying
too hard or whatever. When you care and you don't care. People can tell when you don't care.
That's true.
When you go up and you're just trying to pay and they're just like, they're checked out. Like they give no fucks. Like, and you're just like, okay, well, I'm just going to make this as easy, as quick as possible, you know? So that was always interesting. Human behavior at that job.
Yeah, it was.
Because you'd have people that were like, engaging and they would talk to you, and then there's people that don't want to talk to you, don't want to say nothing, don't even want to look at you, like,
and
retail is crazy.
They spend a lot of money.
Retail is a weird animal, dude, because like I've worked a lot of retail, and I've had some bad experiences, and I've had like some cool like interchangeable,
like you meet some
good exchanges and stuff like that. Dates even happen from customers I've helped out and stuff. But like one time, just kind of like thinking about people being cold. So I just started this job at Toys R Us, right? And this is like in college, and I was working there through the holidays.
In Salt Lake?
And, it was the one that was out here in Layton. That's closed down now, but the one in Layton. And I got there, and it was like the day that they were releasing I think the Nintendo Switch.
Oh, okay.
Right? And so I got there, and I didn't, I kind of got there like early and shit like that, and didn't have time to prep myself for the fucking release or whatever. And so this lady goes in, and everybody else is busy. So I go up to her and I'm like, hey ma'am, can I help you? And she goes, I'm here for the ad. I'm here for what's on the ad. And she goes, do you guys have the ad here? And I didn't know, you know, and I was like, I don't think I have an ad. Like I was saying, I don't have an ad. She goes, your store doesn't have an ad? What kind of store is this? Like, you know, get away from me. She said, get away from me. You don't know what you're talking about. And I was like, whoa, like,
you're like, calm down.
I just woke up an hour ago because I'm here at 5 a.m. for the release of this thing, you know?
Oh my God.
And I'm like, damn, like have some fucking empathy for me. I don't know where the fuck the ad is, right?
Yeah.
But then I helped out some other customers, and I kind of just like took a role of like, okay, like, you know, forget about it, just like do something else. And maybe she had seen like how well I was treating people even after she talked shit to me. She ended up coming back up to me, and she was like, hey, I just want to say I'm sorry. She's like, you know, I was just frustrated because I really needed to know if you had this. And, you know, she's like, I kind of just like went off on you for not knowing you. And I was just like, well, I appreciate that, you know? But I was just happy that I didn't like let my emotions get to me, because I had done that at a job before where I was working at a window, bro. Fast food restaurant, right? And everybody called out. So it was just me and the manager.
So you're stressed.
And we have a line of cars around the fucking thing. And I'm like 17 or maybe younger. And this lady comes and she starts yelling at me through the window. And she goes, we have lines out here. Like, I have to take my kids to this and that. And I was like, I got one motherfucking person in here working and just me. I was like, I gotta fucking do this, and this. And then my manager came and grabbed me. He's like, yo, chill, bro. And I was just like, Mom, let this bitch have it. Like, so I'm glad I learned from that experience. Yeah. And then when I had another experience happen, I was like, oh, you know what? And then the universe paid me back. You know what I mean? Because I was calm, cool, collective, and she ended up coming back and apologizing to me. I mean, that lady at the drive-thru window probably still hates Mexicans to this day because of that.
Like, this is why I hate they're lazy. Fucking lazy. No, I'm doing all the jobs.
Yeah, I'm doing everything.
I'm literally doing everything.
But I went off, dude.
Yeah.
Is it cool if I just like do a behind the scenes video like when you record it?
Yeah.
Like just like while we're just talking.
Yeah.
Just and then I'll tag you guys.
But yeah, dude, it's fucking that's funny. So I can relate to you guys. All I'm saying, I can relate to you guys in retail for sure.
Yeah, that was my first time ever in that department, so I was like, it was such a learning experience. So it was cool. I like the people aspect of it. Yeah. So, but yeah, man.
What about so going back to the genuine thing where you know if somebody's in it or not? Do you get approached by like women because you do a lot of shows and stuff like that, and like. Not to say all your business or anything, but like, yeah, do you know when a woman is genuine or not to like ask her on a date, or if it's she's just having fun?
Yeah,
that's a good question.
Dang, I mean, I feel like I'm trying to get a little bit better at figuring that out because obviously like. Hormones too and like emotions
in the moment too.
Yeah, because you're like, yo, she's bad, you know, you want to like drink, you're having a good time,
good, music's right,
yeah, she's all, you know, she's all on me and stuff, you're having a good time. Sure, but then at the same time, yeah, it's like you'll try to hit them up after and then they're like not really like trying to talk to you, so you're like, okay, they were just doing it to get on the stage or whatever for the cloud and stuff, you know. So I don't know, I've heard people say, like, you're never going to meet your fucking wife or soulmate at a club or a bar. And I'm just like, I mean, never say never. But I'm like, yeah, I like potentially not. Like, I've met some cool girls and good looking girls. But so far, I would say, yeah, that's probably true. Like, I don't think, like, I would find, like, a soulmate there. Just because of the type of setting and what's going on. Like, where they're at mentally and stuff. Like, maybe, because I've been listening to this, like, dating book.
Cool, yeah.
Called The 3% Man by Coach Corey Wayne. And 3% Man just basically talks about like being 3%, like, because everybody else is like the same, you know, like beta male, like they're not alpha, like they're needy, like whatever. And so he talks about that, you know, he talks about how he's like maybe you might meet a girl that like doesn't go clubbing all the time, but she might be at the club because she's celebrating her friend's birthday.
Oh, yeah.
And she's only there because of that.
Right.
That's true.
So he's like, that could be a potential, like a good girl's like, but he's like, but if they're just party, like club girls or whatever, that they're always there, he's like, then yeah, he's like, I wouldn't take it serious.
Right.
He's like, it's just like a hookup or like whatever, but he's like, I wouldn't necessarily like try to approach it as like, I'm gonna make that my wife.
Yeah. What do you look for? Because like, I don't know, it's like doing podcasts and stuff. We like, there's some single people and stuff like that or whatever. But yeah, like what do you personally look for? And like going back to the heritage thing, do you think it kind of matters that they might be Hispanic or not? Have a little bit of Hispanic in them or a family or I don't know.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like there was a point in my life when I was getting super into the culture, when I was going to these ceremonies and stuff, that I was like, oh, I want a girl that's in this world too. That does ceremonies, sweat lodges, like she's into the tradition.
Right.
Which I would still love that, don't get me wrong. But I also was just like, as long as she's open-minded and willing to grow and want to learn it, then yeah. I'm not saying
No, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I'm not saying she has to be like this freaking cultural chief or whatever. But like if she's willing to learn and she's not like ignorant or like trying to like hate on it or whatever, because I've met girls like that. Where I'll be like, yo girl, like, you know your history, and they don't give a fuck, you know, they don't care, and I'm just like, I'm like, damn, I'm like, all right, bye, because I'm just like, dude, like, it's not even that's not even a big qualification. It's just like just knowing your culture.
You like then why not even hear you out and like, you know, take it.
Yeah. So to answer your question is that like I would love to like potentially or like date. I mean, a Mexican girl or like a Latina that like maybe knows her native like culture and stuff like that, or is willing to learn it.
Yeah.
But like, I'm not saying like again, like I won't like not
You're not closed off to other
other cultures or other options. But I think ultimately I would want to meet or like marry someone that's like similar in the culture, just because it makes it a little easier.
Yeah.
But I'm not against it. Like if if my soulmate turns out to be like a girl from India, like, it's like all right, whatever.
You get to know hers too.
Right.
Yeah.
Vice versa.
So Rudy sent me a video of like these. What are those indigenous people scrapping?
Oh yeah, so in Peru.
Oh yeah,
you see that they box once a year. They just go at it. Like I want that bitch. No, it's like a village-wide thing, and if you have a beef to settle, you settle it on that day, right?
Okay.
Yeah. But you can also just fight if you want to. Like you can just be like, hey, you down? Like it's the festival. Let's do it. They just knuckle up. At least you'd have like strong kids.
But then she's gonna beat your ass.
She's like, what?
They break it up too, right? They'll let you go
until somebody falls.
Right,
so if you fall, then the fight's over. They don't let you like knock somebody out or beat somebody to a pulp.
I think that I think that's kind of healthy. Because you resolve your issues. Your people are not dying. They're just getting beat up. And they're like, all right,
they hold a grudge afterwards. I'm getting that bitch next
year. A whole next year, get my rematch. Damn. I wonder if they do rematches.
She's having an extra plato now.
She's been training all year. Dude, I'm pretty sure it happens.
I'm pretty sure it happens.
There's rematches. All the doñas, las señoras.
All right, last thing. You got a show tonight. What do you got going on? Shows coming up, or like music, or anything else that you want to shout out, or anything like
Yeah. So I just dropped a new single. It's called Bien Classy.
Great song.
Good song. Yeah.
Thank you.
On Spotify. Yep.
It's on all streaming platforms. Reggaeton mixed with cumbia. So we just released that, and then by next month. So February, I'll release another single. So stay tuned for that. And then I'm at Exchange. So tonight I'm at Exchange by Twist. So by the time they see this, it's already going to pass. Yeah. But they can catch the next one because I'm usually there once a month.
Okay.
So it's usually at the end of the month, but this month they put me on a little earlier because they're bringing out guest DJs from like Vegas, and LA, and like all these different places. So they're having these like pretty big DJs coming out at the end of the month, so they moved me for like in the middle or whatever. So but yeah, you can catch me at the Exchange by Twist once a month. That's like my consistent like show. And that's been cool, man. Like it's like upstairs is like a bar, it's Twist. And then downstairs is the Exchange, and it's more of like a nightclub.
I think you're doing it right because, like, you go to the hip hop shows and it's cool, like, but people are standing or like nodding their head. But I went to Ibiza and we were supposed to perform at Ibiza, and man, people are dancing, having a great time. I'm like,
it's different, huh?
Yeah,
that's the spot to be.
That's where you want to go.
Yeah, so.
You're like, there's girls here. Not a whole bunch of dudes.
Yeah, because hip hop shows is usually a bunch of dudes.
A whole bunch of dudes, and they're all performing.
Right. They're all performing.
And so and so left, so I'm mad at you because you didn't stay for my set. It's like, it's like, dude, I'm not your fan, bro. Go get fans.
You figured it out. Good job,
bro.
Yeah.
But shout out to everybody.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah, but thanks for stopping by, dude. It's been cool.
You.
Like, we're talking about getting into a studio, so the next time you're on here, you'll probably be in a grander setting. But I love the little humble setting we got, you know. And it's
you
cool
just gotta start.
Yeah.
That's dope that you guys just started. It came out of nowhere, dude.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, what? I was like, because I started seeing you post it.
Yeah.
And I thought it was really cool. So I'm happy for you guys.
Yeah, you commented and stuff.
Yeah, I'm happy about that. You comment on the video, so I appreciate that too, bro.
Thank you because I was like, hell yeah, I know how much it means. So the biggest thing is just starting. So whatever way I can help out, just let me know.
Hell yeah, bro. Thank you.
Just being here.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
No.
It's dope, bro.